We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
Welcome to Conspiracy Corner Podcast. This is Abe, your host. It is Friday, May the 13th, 5:50 a.m. Friday the 13th. Dun, dun, dun. That's not good. Normally I would actually have a Friday the 13th episode planned, but I didn't know that it was coming up, so I apologize for that. But I do have a good episode planned for you. It's just a bunch of different current news stories that are going on. So I hope you enjoy. Today, honestly, I'll tell you about yesterday as far as an update. Yesterday, found out my wife, Sammy, she got promoted. So that was really cool. She's now kitchen lead, so she gets a raise. So I took her out. We went to the movies. Went and seen The Northman, that Viking movie, which is pretty cool. Sadly, I worked third shift, so I fell asleep during it. But from what I seen, it was really good. Bjork's in it. She's one of my favorite singers. She plays this witch, kind of like a fortune teller. What's his name? Robert Duvall, I think, is his name. He played the Green Goblin. He's in it. Yeah, it's pretty fucking brutal. It's a brutal movie. There's nudity in it. I don't know. It's just a wicked movie altogether about the Vikings. Then we went to a Japanese restaurant. I didn't order anything just because I don't really like Japanese food, but that's where she wanted to go. So that's what we did. Came home, had some fun, and went to sleep. But work was pretty chill today. Got everything done, wasn't overwhelmed, so that's always good. But that's about it for an update. Let's get on with the show. Now, this first story is insane. I'm a big connoisseur of podcasts. One of my favorites is Last Podcast on the Left with Henry Zabrowski, Ben Kissel, Marcus Parks. Check it out. They actually won an award for podcasting. I think it's an awesome podcast. It's like a true crime / paranormal / ufology. It's just an awesome podcast. It's hilarious as hell. Check it out. But they brought this to my attention. Vicky White, corrections. I'll learn how to talk one of these days. Officer accused of helping Alabama inmate escape. Died by suicide, coroner says. White, 56, died Monday after she and escaped inmate Casey White were captured in Indiana following a car crash that ended a more than week-long search. And it has a video clip. Let me see if it'll play and you can hear it.
Suspects from Alabama.
The U.S. Marshal Service says following a roughly 10-minute pursuit of Vicky and Casey White, this Cadillac, their final getaway car, was rammed by task force members, with Casey driving and Vicky in the passenger seat.
The Marshal's task force officers intercepted them, actually collided with them to try to end the pursuit.
Video showing police cars rushing into the area where this all ended appears to show authorities detaining a suspect. While the marshals say they didn't hear any gunshots, it soon became clear Vicky had fired a single bullet into her head.
We could hear her on the line saying she had her finger on the trigger.
The decorated corrections officer later dying of her injuries. The U.S. Marshal Service also telling NBC News Casey got out of the car, surrendered, and said, quote, "Please help my wife. She just shot herself in the head, and I didn't do it." Authorities say there is no indication the two were married. The stunning sequence coming hours after investigators tracked a pickup truck Casey bought a week ago in Tennessee and ultimately ditched in Evansville at a local car wash.
I noticed a black Ford truck sticking out of the end of the bay, and my first thought, this could be that guy from Alabama, because it's got Tennessee license plates on it.
Surveillance video showed Casey leaving in a Cadillac, the authorities using that car to track the pair to a local hotel parking lot. Once they left, eventually the car chase that led to their capture. Casey was already facing capital murder charges for the 2015 death of Connie Ridgway. Her son Austin relieved the manhunt is finally over.
Just night and day difference. It's like you're going through the darkest night, and then the next day the sun is shining.
Officials now vowing Casey will be brought to justice.
He will stay in handcuffs and shackles while he's in that cell. If he wants to sue me for violating his civil rights, so be it. He's not getting out of this jail again.
If Casey White chooses to waive extradition, he could be back in Florence, Alabama within the next day or two. And guys, authorities here believe it is possible that pair was holed up inside that motel for up to 6 days consecutively and plan on spending weeks there. Tom and Hoda, back to you.
Well, Sam, okay, thank you.
So Vicky White, the former Alabama corrections officer accused of helping a murder suspect escape from jail, died from a single self-inflicted gunshot wound, an Indiana coroner's officer said Tuesday. White, 56, died Monday, hours after she and escaped inmate Casey White were captured in Indiana following a car crash that ended a manhunt that spanned more than a week. Vicky White and Casey White are not related. The Vanderburgh County Coroner's Office concluded that Vicky White died by suicide. The pair had a cache of weapons, 4 handguns, and several semi-automatic weapons, including an AR-15. Vanderburgh County Sheriff Dave Wedding said. After his arrest Monday, Casey White said he was probably going to have a shootout at the stake of both of them losing their lives. The pair had been on the run since April 29th, after authorities say Vicky White helped Casey White flee the Lauderdale County Detention Center in Florence, Alabama, about 70 miles west of Huntsville. Lauderdale County Sheriff Rick Singleton said that they left that morning, the day Vicky White had been set to retire. So basically the day of her retirement, she escaped with this inmate for a purported mental health evaluation in court for Casey White. Investigators, however, learned that no such evaluation had been scheduled, Singleton said. So here we have another audio clip. This is a sheriff, it looks like.
Alabama Sheriff Rick Singleton. A reminder, Vicky White was the assistant director of the Lauderdale County Jail. Good morning, and thank you so much for being with us, Sheriff. First, I want to start with what we've heard from you about this person, that he is not getting out of this jail again. That's what you said. I mean, this is a man scheduled to face capital murder charges next month and the stabbing death of a woman. He was already in prison for this attempted murder and burglary charge, and now he escaped prison. What happens next for him, and how just unfolded factor in?
Well, he will be extradited back to Alabama. If he waives extradition, that will then expedite the process, hopefully as early as even today. If he fights extradition, then it's going to be drawn out for several days, maybe even a few weeks. But he'll be brought back here to the Lauderdale County Courthouse, where he'll be immediately arraigned on the escape charges. He has to have an appearance before the judge within 72 hours. As soon as that arraignment is over, he will be immediately transported back to the Alabama Department of Corrections for incarceration.
I also want to get your reaction, of course, to the death of Vicky White, part of this tragedy here. According to the U.S. Marshals, when Casey got out of the car, he said, "Please help my wife. She just shot herself in the head, and I didn't do it." First, is there any reason to believe they got married while on the run? And second, is the prevailing theory here from law enforcement that she did, in fact, take her own life?
There's a possibility they got married. I don't know that they did, and he may consider her his wife. And I'm sorry, I didn't remember the second part of the question.
Oh, no, that's right. I just asked, is the prevailing theory here that she did take her own life?
Yes, that's what I've heard and been informed of by the Marshals Task Force, that she did inflict the wound that ended her life. The employees at the jail, it's a small facility. We have about 48 employees, but as assistant director, she knew each and every one of them. A lot of the younger correction deputies looked at her as a mother figure. So it's just a bag of mixed emotions that we're going through and have been going through for the last several days. Even though she's had done what she's done, the employees are still taking this very hard.
I bet. That's exactly what I want to ask you about now. I know she was a decorated corrections officer, years of experience, years of service. How well did you know her, and what do we know at this point about her motivation and the relationship with Casey White?
I've known Vicky since I've been in office, which is going on 8 years. We obviously were co-workers, and I had a lot of confidence in her, a lot of trust in her. Up until this happened, her record was unblemished. What in the world prompted her to do something like this? I'm at a loss. Obviously the relationship, and it's not uncommon for inmates to try to persuade correction deputies, especially of the opposite sex, to woo them, if you would, and apparently she fell for it.
We've also all seen, of course, that video of Vicky leading Casey White out of the jail. We know that she had said that she was taking him for this evaluation and then herself going to a medical appointment, both things which we now know were not true. But how exactly was she allowed to transport a prisoner facing these counts of capital murder by herself? I understand that she was a 17-year veteran, employee of the year 4 times, but given that the protocol was that they can't transport someone alone, an officer cannot do this by themselves, what's your take on how this happens and what changes are made, if any, to sort of make sure something like this doesn't happen again in terms of security procedures at the jail?
Well, obviously this was well orchestrated, and that Friday morning, just prior to Vicky White leaving the facility with Casey White, she, as Assistant Director of Operations, was in charge of arranging transports. Friday morning is a busy court morning here in our courthouse. We had 2 vans of inmates leave just minutes before Vicky White took Casey White out of the jail. The first van was 2 deputies with 5 inmates. The second van, 2 deputies, 7 inmates. So all the transport deputies were, in fact, tied up. And she used her position, and I think she coordinated the transports to ensure that there were no transport deputies there, and took advantage of her position, told the booking officer that she was going to carry him up there and drop him off to the other deputies. And the booking officer obviously didn't question it. She is the boss, and she's in charge of transport. So I think that's pretty much was fit right into her plan. I think all that was planned ahead of time.
Sheriff Rick Singleton, we so much appreciate your time this morning. I know this has been quite a long week or so here, and we are sorry for the way that it's unfolded, but we appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
As Vicky White was leaving the jail, she told a booking officer that she was going to a medical appointment after she dropped Casey White off because she wasn't feeling well. Singleton said Vicky White didn't have an appointment scheduled for that day. Casey White was jailed on capital murder charge in the stabbing death of Connie Ridgway. He confessed to the murder and was awaiting trial at the jail when he disappeared, authorities said. During the investigation, officials learned that Vicky White and Casey White had a quote-unquote special relationship and had communicated over the phone for the past 2 years before they disappeared. Singleton also said Vicky White transported Casey White by herself, which violated a department policy that requires 2 sworn deputies to be present with an inmate facing those charges. The duo were on the run for more than a week. They were tracked to Evansville, Indiana, about 270 miles north of the jail after Casey White was seen on a security camera washing a Ford F-150 pickup. The business owner provided authorities with images from the camera. But yeah, there you have it, man. I don't know. We cover a lot of true crime on this channel, and I thought it was a crazy story. It reminds me of like modern day Bonnie and Clyde or something. So figured I'd share it with you all. So this is another one that I got off of last podcast on the left. Crazy fucking story about a fecal eating cult. Yes, you heard me correctly. A fecal eating cult. Leader of feces eating cult arrested after 11 dead bodies discovered during raid. Thai police raided the compound of a suspected cult leader in Chai Phum province on Sunday, discovering at least 11 bodies during the search. Local authorities were able to raid the compound after the group allegedly violated land encroachment laws and broke Beerbug 19 restriction laws. Law enforcement had already been made aware of the group after allegations were shared that the community had been consuming the bodily fluids of its leader. Yeah, you heard me correctly. After police made their way onto the campgrounds, police then discovered the remains of 11 bodies in coffins. However, the group was only able to provide death certificates belonging to 5 of the 11 of the deceased. Police have ordered autopsies to be conducted to establish the causes of death of the bodies. The suspected leader of the group has been detained for questioning, but before the arrest, many of his followers attempted to stop police from arresting the elderly man during the raid. Well, devoted followers, I guess. The strange group was known in the area to conduct themselves in a religious-like manner, where devotees of the quote-unquote father, Tawi Nanra, 75, would do almost anything for the man. Some say he would force his followers to drink his urine, eat his feces, and consume dirt in order to heal physical illnesses. Cult-like groups are not uncommon in Thailand. In 2019, a rape cult on Koh Phangan was revealed where female students say they were promised spiritual practice only to be coerced into sex or raped by its founder. Last year, an elderly monk decapitated himself with a homemade device in an attempt to reincarnate as a higher being. His followers helped him build the contraption and helped him commit suicide. More widely known as the Dhammakaya group, a massively rich Buddhist sect that critics and former followers call a cult. The incident has quickly gone viral on social media, with netizens sharing their disgust against the cult's practices of consuming human waste. The Thai language #father saw more than 141,000 mentions as of Monday afternoon. A snippet from television shows a woman who appears to be a member of the cult saying that she did not detect any unpleasant odor while consuming the human waste. There isn't even an odor, the woman remarked. Only those with a tainted mind may smell it. One Twitter user pointed out that the one who exposed this cult was More Pla, a celebrity volunteer who has helped uncover suspicious religious cases rather than local authorities. Quote, "It was supposed to be the police that raided this cult in the first place, isn't it?" one Twitter user questioned. Several tweets described what happened as a failure of Thailand's education system, notably in the area of hygiene. Quote, "I can't bear the thought of more than half of the country being like this," another Twitter user wrote. Thai Inquirer attempted to reach local police in Chaya Phum for comment, but they did not respond by the time of the publishing. Authorities are still searching the group's compound for other suspicious material. This is an ongoing story, and we will have more details in the coming days. But yeah, I thought that was fucking insane. Crazy. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So, I had a buddy send me something on the Denver airport here recently, and that's a whole conspiracy within itself. And he had never heard the story of Blucifer. So, I don't know, I figured that'd be a good thing to cover today. But yeah, Blucifer, the story of Denver Airport's Blue Mustang, sculpture by Luis Jimenez. When it comes to Denver International Airport, there are many conspiracy theories floating around. Everything from the barbed wire fence along the perimeter facing towards, supposedly to keep hypothetical prisoners within, to the dark subliminal messaging that could be extracted from the murals painted on larger walls scattered throughout the terminals has been theorized. However, at least one of the stories that has arisen since the inception of the Denver International Airport is complete fact. The story of Blue Mustang, more notably dubbed by residents Blucifer, is 100% true. The same sculpture that cannot be missed by visitors due to and from the Denver International Airport, which sits proudly in the median on Pina Boulevard linking the airport and the city, is most renowned for its act of patricide, more simply in the process of being made. Blucifer unsuspectingly killed his maker. What's up with the Blue Mustang statue at the Denver International Airport? The statue was originally commissioned to be built by the city of Denver in the mid-1990s. When the current Denver International Airport was being established. The airport itself was thought unneeded by some, completely unreasonably over budget and woefully behind schedule. The statue was completed behind schedule and unveiled at the airport in 2008. As the story goes, when the artist Luis Jimenez was working on his now famous Blue Mustang, his largest commissioned pieces to date, and a commission from the city of Denver to be placed outside its recently built airport, a section of the 32-foot-tall, 9,000-pound, 32, there you go, that's an important number, cast fiberglass sculpture fell on him, severing an artery in his leg. The wound ended up unfortunately killing Jimenez, and the sculpture had to be finished posthumously by his family, friends, and professional lowriders and race car painters Richard Lovato and Camilo Nunes. Despite the sculpture having to be finished by those close to Jimenez, the piece was actually very near completion upon the artist's untimely death. Only some of the painting needed to be finished. Then it was sent to California to be assembled and sent back for its final placement. The vivid blue coloring all over the animal, anatomically correct figure, is a clear nod to Jimenez's love for a traditional Mexican muralist, and the bright colors he would have encountered as a boy growing up and working in his father's sign shop in El Paso, Texas. However, the unique texture and the use of stylized exaggeration in the piece is something that Jimenez is most known for, and has better yet imparted upon a new generation of artists inspired by his style. He was a forefather in the lowbrow and urban art movements, with those styles showing through in Blue Mustang. Even the rearing of the horse is used to symbolize the freedom that the Southwest has to offer all who come to visit. Still, Blucifer is most well known for its luminous red eyes, juxtaposed against its blue body and deeply set into the head of the horse, looking out towards the Rocky Mountains. When driving past, Blue Mustang's gaze cannot be missed. He seems to be an all-seeing gatekeeper for those heading towards or away from the city. Even in the dead of night, when the body of the sculpture is invisible against the roads surrounding, the eyes of Blucifer are unwaveringly lit bright red to see all who pass by. The name Blucifer was bestowed upon Jimenez's sculpture by locals shortly after its unveiling. A combination of the names Blue, from its original name Blue Mustang, and the name Lucifer, from the archangel who fell from heaven and now rules the underworld, seemed fittingly appropriate for the unveiled demon horse who rears tall outside Denver's airport. Although there was initially loud and outspoken distaste online and in the media for Blue Mustang following its unveiling in February 2008, commissions in the city of Denver are typically guaranteed to be on display for 5 years. Only then, after the 5-year waiting period, can works even be brought before the city's commission on cultural affairs with a legitimate request and petition for the piece to be removed. No such petition has been brought forward since 2013, into the first 5 years of Blucifer being on display at the airport, and it seems as though none will be brought forward altogether. Thus, Blue Mustang is here to stay. He must have even grown on residents more regularly at the airport, who would be put off by its ceaseless gaze, and could seek to uproot him. Besides, like all great art pieces, Blucifer has at least been able to get the people of Denver talking again about what public art should and should not be. An important discussion for city residents to have as more people flock to the city, and it grows its funding for local artists and art commissions. For the last 11 years, Blucifer has kept an eye on Denver International Airport and all who travel through it. Despite being an eyesore and known as a demon early on in his life for his patricide, he has since been accepted as another majestic public art piece in the great city of Denver, willing to welcome all who come and to stare at those who leave. Finally, Blucifer is a beautiful tribute to the late Luis Jimenez, a sculptor who truly lived to create pieces such as this and who died doing just that. Jimenez's style and influence will be on display in Denver, and similarly, many other cities around the country for years to come with his plethora of commissioned work. But there you have it, the story of Blucifer. And I think we'll wrap it up there. Thank you all for tuning in. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to find us on YouTube, if you want to put a face to a voice, it's Conspiracy Corner Podcast on YouTube. And if you want to save your phone battery while listening, you can listen to us on audio-only formats, or platforms, I should say. You can find us on Breaker, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Spotify, and Anchor. And, of course, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you listen to us on audio-only formats, please rate. Please rate us, you know. It helps, but pushes up the totem pole of other podcasts. And, yeah, you all have a good day.
We are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret society, opposed to secret oaths, opposed to secret proceedings, secret proceedings. No official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.